So John, you've this was a kind of a dream project for you to be able to tell the story of Bobby Bowden. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired it?
I was inspired to do the movie about Bobby Bowden when I read his book called The Coach. In chapter 2, he talked about laying in bed for an entire year and not being able to play football and basically saying a prayer. God, if you'll heal me, I'd love to serve you, maybe through football. And his prayers were answered, and so Bobby followed through it. I was so moved by that, I thought, that's like a scene in a movie. So I ended up, a couple of years later, I ended up talking to him because of you, Jerry. I brought it up at a meeting, and then you said, hey, we're going to go over to Coach's house, and we went over there. And you were there when I pitched it to him, so you could probably tell the story as well as me. But I just said, look, Coach, we just want to tell your story. We want to, but we don't want to tell it through a network. We want to self-fund it. I want to tell your story, but I don't want to make it about X's and O's, and I don't want to do just a retrospective. I want to do something to explain the greatest sports story never told, which is the 14-year dynasty story at Florida State. So Bobby bought in, and then my trick was, okay, now I had to find the money. And I turned to three fraternity brothers, Rick Bronner, Scott Davis, and Mike Ortol. And they came through, and sort of the rest is history.
How fun was it to get to know Coach Bowden in the process? I know you and your wife spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah. Coach Bowden was the same on TV. He was the same in person as he was on TV. He was completely transparent. The only famous person I know who left their phone number available on the phone book all throughout his career, even after he retired. You could call up coaching and pick up the phone. That's unbelievable. When we went to his home, childhood home, for the first time ever, and we found out that an African-American family lived in that house where he grew up as a child. Well, my wife told the mom, you should have your son come home from school when she found out her son was a football player. He came home from school, and Bobby spent the rest of the afternoon on the front porch telling that young boy what he needed to do to get better and to go to help him get into a college to play football. And he said, if you ever want to call me son, call me, I'll help you out. That's Bobby Bowden. It wasn't what we were making. It wasn't the film we were making. He saw an opportunity to help a young man, and he took it.
Yeah, there were a lot of stars in that film. I mean, you got to videotape a lot of people that had wonderful things to say about Coach Bowden. Did any of them touch you more than others?
It's hard to beat Ward Dunn. It's hard to beat Charlie Ward, Derek Brooks. It's like asking a parent, who their favorite child is. I can't do it. Yeah. But I think when people watch the film, they'll all have their favorite moments. But it really is, a good film will make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll move you. And usually you have to watch a made-up fiction story for that to happen. But here you got a real story, a real documentary, and hold on a second. And yes, all that really happened, and to be able to do it in a documentary, for me, made me very happy.
That movie, I've seen it 5 times, and every time I see it, it's just more precious to me, and I want to cry. It makes me miss Coach Bowden more and more, but just the wonderful, how he built Florida State. It's still just, and all these kids that he made such an influence in their life. And the coaches, and just listen to them praise him and what they did for him. Faith, family, football, that was Coach.
Sure. So you've got been able to keep up with Peter Warwick and a lot of those guys.
A lot of them. And just to listen to the way they talk about how Coach Bowden influenced their life totally. It just warms your heart listening to them.
30 years after football, they now have children and some of them grandchildren.
Yeah, Victor Floyd saw him Monday night at Coach Bowden's, that memorial for FCA Memorial, and listened to him talk about being a coach and how he's influenced the kids just like Coach Bowden influenced him. You just don't know how that affected me. Just good for you, Victor. It's just kids, and look what Sammy Smith has done with his life. He was there. It really warms your heart to know how these young men have grown and what they're doing, especially when they're coaching, preaching. Look what Bobby Butler's done with his life. Ordained minister. preached the best service of Coach Bowden I've ever heard. So
It's amazing.
it is amazing.
See, when they come in at 18, you wonder they'll ever pull them through the knothole.
Right, that's
And then
for
they
sure.
go on to be
These wonderful men with families, good dads, Yeah,
it's the best part of that film.
yes. It's been a blessing for me to work for Coach and see these kids grow up. And I feel like he said, Sue, I'm looking for a mama for my team, and that's what I did. Yeah.
Sue, thank you. We love you.
So John, what's next for the film?
Well, this is Bobby Bowden week, and his birthday would have been Monday. On Tuesday, we had the worldwide digital premiere, which means it's now available on all HD platforms where you typically go to get movies: iTunes, Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Vudu, Google Play. This is going to be on Vimeo. So right now it's available in 52 countries, English-speaking countries, on iTunes, and it'll soon be available on Vimeo worldwide.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so
So if a person wants to see the film, how would they do it?
if you want to see the Bowden Dynasty, go to BowdenDynasty.FSU.edu, and there you can choose from Apple, iTunes, Apple TV. All of the links are right there, and then you can also see what we're doing with the film. We're giving half of all the proceeds from the digital campaign back to Florida State. And they're going to split it between the boosters and a very innovative collegiate recovery program called LIFT.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about Lyft.
LIFT helps kids that are either in recovery or post-recovery, and it helps them stay on course. 4% of all students that come to Florida State say they have an issue with addiction, and so there's a lot of people that could use some support.
That's great. That's great. And of course, with the boosters, the money helps fund athletics programs.
Yeah, and Bobby knew we were going to help the boosters. Earlier in the summer, we wanted to do this, but then as his health declined out for obvious reasons, we put off this digital campaign. And so he really loved that part. And then 3 weeks before he passed, Mike Ortol, one of the film's founders, he lost his daughter to addiction a year ago. And that's how we started getting into this LIFT thing. Well, Mike got to meet Coach 3 weeks before it passed and told him what we were doing with the film, and Bobby couldn't have been more happy. So the boosters are getting a bit, and the LIFT's going to get a bit, and the university in turn is going to help us get the word out. They got a lot of alumni that I know still haven't seen this film, and when they do, I think they're going to love it.
I would agree with you. It moves you. I mean, I've watched it myself a number of times, and you see something different in it every time you watch it. Thanks for taking time with us.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry.